what do you tell a young journalist who wants to? A lot of them are. I know you get asked this a lot. I have to ask this question because I've had friends who've left and have gone to like corporate communications or moved publications, and every person I've spoken to, because I went to media school and I've seen so many of people who studied with me all move away from the profession, and the only thing I hear is just disillusioned. And I know they all got into. There's a standing joke in anybody in media school is that there's a big chunk of people who take up journalism who generally have this thing. But one second, I'm doing this for like you guys are just doing this like. I was doing it to get into MTV. That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I was in audiovisual production.
Yeah, there's a chip on the shoulder. Yeah.
But I've had friends who are like, I'm doing this because I genuinely believe this is my purpose. This is why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for, for the money or any of the other things. And I've seen them all slowly over the years go into a mode and also make the audience get disillusioned, right? You don't necessarily believe what you see.
Yeah.
You look at it almost like it's entertainment and you just move ahead.
That's so sad.
Yeah. Is there a balance to it? Is there?
It's really, really difficult right now for new journalists, for young journalists. I mean, I remember when we were young and we told someone that, oh, this is what I do, people would be like, oh, wow. Nobody's impressed anymore when you're a journalist. And that's so sad because you genuinely have to believe that you can change the world before you put your pants on in the morning. Otherwise, it's a tough job to do. Journalists are normally used to be really arrogant people because you're out to change the world. Because you believe that you do your job for the greater good. Because when you do your job for the greater good and what I call journalism throwing stones at giants. Because when you're throwing stones at giants, your nose better be clean, right? Which means no brashtachar on your end, no income tax fraud, no like this way or that way, no gray area at all. Like you can't do anything. And that's why you would have a chip on your shoulder saying, I'm here changing the world while the rest of you are just, working for corporate greed. Things are different now, obviously, because the media has become corporate greed and they're self-serving and they're not out for the greater good. But there are a lot of journalists still holding out, still doing good work. It's not dead entirely. In my head, I can see it. There is a tapestry, a carpet across India of independent journalists doing honest work in pockets. There are people who report 100% on the Dalit community across the world. Dalit Desk is amazing. You should follow them on Instagram. You should help them out. There are people who work on tribal communities. There are, there's Pari, which reports on rural communities. There are those that report entirely on women. There are those that report in different languages. I write for young people. There are other people who only write about the South. There are those who write in the Northeast. So it exists. It's there. My advice for someone who wants to get into journalism is you need necessarily believe. You have to believe that you can change the world. And don't let anybody tell you that you can't change the world, because you can. You need to choose your first job based on the editor that you are going to work with and not the name and the brand and the salary. Because if you work with a bad editor, that is where the disillusionment will come from. If you work with a bad brand, if you work with a bad channel or a bad newspaper, you will be disillusioned and you will give up journalism altogether. You need to work with an editor who believes that you are changing the world. And then it is not journalism school, but it is your first couple of editors who will instill in you the pride of being a journalist, your ethics, which are really important. And I'll tell you why ethics in journalism are really important. And it is that will take you through your career. And I believe that journalism across the world is going through a bad phase. Because there's an onslaught from social media. There is an onslaught from YouTube influencers who are pretending to be journalists and are saying whatever the hell they want to. And they don't have that background of what journalists are supposed to sound like and why they use words like accused and allegedly and what the laws and the rules say. But I believe that the profession will survive because it has to. If democracy will survive, then journalism has to survive. It's a phase, I think.
Want more such insights? Make sure you check out the full episode.